Now we're going to look at the CAO deadline that's coming up this weekend. It's Saturday, the 1st of February. Students are being urged to get their applications in on time and to remember that you don't need to have every decision made just yet. Joining us now to talk through the key deadlines, common mistakes to avoid and the wide range of education and training options available to students is a friend of the show, Dan Sheedy from Newmarket-on-Fergus and the principal of the Tuition Centre. Dan, good to speak to you again. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Alan. How are you keeping?
I'm very well. I'm sure there's some nervous students out there with the CAO deadline coming up. How critical is it for students to get their applications in on time? And maybe, Dan, a highlight for some of the common mistakes or perhaps last-minute panics you see at this stage every year that maybe you can help students avoid this year.
Yeah, it seems like every time I'm talking to you, we're talking about stress for students, and this is definitely one, but I think in reality this is stressful for parents too. I remember last year with my own daughter, I was kind of constantly pushing, have you got that done, have you got that done? And this is one of the, what we call hard deadlines. So there's numerous deadlines in a Leaving Cert year, kind of soft deadlines. If you don't do it by this date, you're okay. But this is a hard deadline. Like this Sunday at 5 o'clock, you have to have submitted into your CAO application. Now, that creates a level of stress among students because they feel, wow, it's just January, well, just getting into February, and I have to commit. And this feels like it's the biggest decision of their life. And on top of that, they're currently doing their mock exams, which we spoke about a while ago. Anyone doing a HPAT, which is the medicine entry program, that's coming up in February as well. And now we have the extra bank holiday on Monday. So all of this creates something that the CAO deadline can get lost in. But it is absolutely imperative. It's a hard deadline, 5 o'clock Sunday, 1st of February. You do have to have submitted your application to the CAO, but there is good news. The good news is, although you have to submit your application for your courses to the CAO, you are not committed to that. And we always say in the Tuition Centre, you don't have to commit, but you have to submit. So the courses that you put down before Sunday, Alan, 5 o'clock, they do not have to be the courses that you actually even want. Because there are numerous opportunities after this to change them.
Okay, and that, which is great for students who aren't 100% sure about their choices yet. And I guess you're alluding to the Change of Mind facility, which would be very welcome by students who, as you've touched on as well, Dan, so much going on, and that they possibly don't have time, if they're not 100% sure, to lock down their definitive choices. But as you said, they don't have to be definitive.
They don't have to be. And in my experience, 90% of Leaving Cert students at the moment do not know what they want to do. I mean, I think it's very difficult to ask an 18-year-old, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And thankfully, things are changing in terms of pathways, but they don't have to commit. Now, there are a few caveats to this. You're 100% right. The Change of Mind timeline is February the 5th to the 1st of March. For a €10 fee, you can change. So straight away, you get your application in on the 1st of February. Any time after that, from the 5th of February to the 1st of March, costs a tenner, but you can change your courses as much as you want. Not only that, from the 5th of May to the 1st of July, you can go in again and you can change your mind for free. So there's 2 periods after Sunday where you can change your mind. But here's the big one. You can't change your mind if you haven't submitted something by Sunday. And that's the caveat for everyone. You can my daughter changed her mind 4, 5, 6 times. The one between the 5th of February and the 1st of March, you change your mind, it costs you a tenner. The one and this is the new one, Alan, from our time, which is really good, from the 5th of May to the 1st of July, you have your free change of mind form. And what that means basically is people will do their exams. They might think, do you know what? Maybe I was being very, very ambitious there in terms of what I put down. And after the exams, they can change their mind, which is phenomenally good. And of course, it works the other way. My God, I think those exams went really, really well. Maybe I actually can get this course that I thought I was only dreaming about, and then they can change that. So the Change of Mind forms are really, really good, and they're even better than they were years ago. But, and there's 2 buts. Number 1, you cannot change your mind unless you've submitted something by Sunday at 5 p.m. Now, there is a second but. There are some restricted courses that if you don't have them down on your form by this Sunday, you can't put them in when you do your Change of Mind. And these would be courses that include, they have auditions, interviews, portfolios. So the ones your listeners would know: medicine, art and design, music, some teaching and some physiotherapy courses. So we do need to be careful about the restricted courses. Okay. If you want those courses, they have to go down before this Sunday.
Dan, this Sunday is also the deadline for the Dare and Hear applications. What are they and why are they so vital not to miss those?
Well, these are, like, the There and Here applications have been wonderful additions to second level education over the last 15 to 20 years. All right? They facilitate access for people who might find it more disadvantaged to access to college programs. And there's a wide variety of these all across the country now. But again, that's another hard deadline that's coming up. 1st of March, these have to be submitted. And any parent out there who probably can avail of a Dare or a Here course, they'll know exactly what we're talking about. So I would say to parents who don't know what we're talking about, if you haven't heard about Here programs or Dare programs at this stage, don't worry. You're not missing out on anything. Anybody who's concerned with those would have been widely informed of them for the past, I would say, 5, 6, 7 months. It can be confusing to parents here. Oh, I'm missing out on something. You're not. Any Here applicants and Dare applicants, they have been very, very well informed over the last few months. So don't worry, anyone else who's listening, you're not missing out on anything. Your child, doesn't need to apply for that. They would have definitely been informed of that already.
Dan, I'm thinking of mature students as well. Are there any additional steps they need to be aware of in all of this?
Yeah. Mature students have another hard deadline as well. They've got to apply by the 1st of March. Right, and that's another hard deadline for them. So their deadline comes a little bit later than all the normal students. But if any mature students are out there, and there's a growing percentage of people going back to school, doing extra subjects, your deadline is the 1st of March. Right, but to the vast majority out there, it's very important. Let's get something done by Sunday. We can then change our mind either from the 5th of February to the 1st of March, or from the 5th of May to the 1st of July. And even with all of that, and even with the restricted courses, there's still flexibility. Like, I'll give you another story about my daughter. My daughter probably changed her mind 4 or 5 times last year. Then she went to college, and in the first week of her course, she kind of said, you know what? I'm not sure this is for me. And so what she was able to do was, within the same college, which is UL, transfer from one course to another. As long as her results had met the criteria which they had. So, there's so many options out there. There's so many different pathways out there. But we come back to what you said at the very start. There is one hard deadline for the CEO, and that really is Sunday at 5 p.m. So parents, you got to get onto your kids. I know most of the time I'm on here, I'm saying that, and back off. This is one of the occasions where you do not need to back off. You need to say to your child, have you done the CAO application?
Dan, students, naturally enough, they'd be glad to hear that they don't have to, if they're not 100% sure about their choices, they're not locked into them after Sunday. But what would you say to students who feel overwhelmed by choice regardless?
Yeah, I suppose, what I would say to them is choice is a wonderful thing. And the big development I feel in Irish education, probably over the last 7 to 8 years, has been we have taken away almost the stigma of college. And what I mean by that is, you have to go to college. Everyone has to go to college. You remember that in our time, Alan. It was, it was almost a social status thing that your child had to go to 3rd level in some way. Yeah. So now what has happened is apprenticeships are now seen as a wonderful, viable pathway. And not only that, PLC courses are coming in that you can use as a springboard to college if you don't get into college. You also have something called tertiary courses that are coming in just over the last few years, which almost completely bypass the Leaving Cert as an entry point into college, but you still get into college. It might just be 1 or 2 years later. So any student who's feeling overwhelmed, who's saying, oh my God, will I get to college? Do I have to go to college? You will find your own path. You don't have to go to college straight away the minute you finish your Leaving Cert. And in terms of the breadth of choices, God, I remember when I was getting ready to go to college, there was maybe 10 or 15 courses you could do. We were very, very limited in our choices. Whereas now, there are some of the most wonderful courses out there that allow pathways into the most diverse and wonderful careers. So while choice can be overwhelming, while choice can be a little bit, oh my God, there's so many options, it's better to have lots of options than to be narrowed down into, well, you either have to be a teacher, an accountant, or a barrister.
Some great advice as ever. Wouldn't expect any less from you, Dan. Before I let you go, though, a Morning Focus listener wants to tap into your extensive expertise. Question in for you on 086 1800 964 asking, is it advisable to skip the mocks or some of them if you were doing the HPAT?
What I would say to that student is I would not skip doing the mocks. What I would do is I would change my attitude towards the mocks. I would say the HPAT is infinitely more important for my future career than the mocks are. I want the experience of sitting the exam, but I'm going to be mature enough to say I'm not going to be putting all my efforts into studying for some of these subjects, so therefore I'm not going to be upset by the results of them. So I would say definitely sit the mocks, but be mature enough to know that your focus lies elsewhere, and I'm not going to invest myself in the results of those subjects. And if you can do that, you gain the experience of sitting the mocks, you gain the experience of the timing, and you don't have any stress about the results. So I would definitely sit the mocks, but I would not put any stock in the result of that subject. But the experience of sitting it is valuable.
Okay, well, thanks for answering that. I think maybe they were just looking for a way not to have to sit some of the mocks, and you've closed that door on them.
Yeah, a lot of students doing the HPAT, though, they are very smart in how they approach the mocks, to be fair. Most of them will sit them, they won't leave them out, but they are smart enough to know, like, HPAT, that's coming up a couple of weeks, that's where my focus needs to be, and it does need to be there.
Okay. Dan, always brilliant to have you on. You know your stuff, that is for sure. Thanks very much, and looking forward to chatting to you again.
Lovely, Alan. Take care, mate.
Take care. Dan Sheedy there, the principal of the Tuition Centre, with us with some great advice as ever in relation to the CAO deadline. Coming up this Sunday, the 1st of February from 5 p.m. But as you heard, there is the online facility to amend course choices. That becomes available for a late fee of €10 until the 1st of March from noon on the 5th of February.